everybody. So today we're going to try Dark Divination Nutella from Arvon Brewing Company. This was $7.49, 10% ABV, Nutella-inspired pastry stout, hazelnut, cocoa nibs, and vanilla. I like Nutella. Do I eat it all the time? No, but my kid eats it like every single day. So this should be a good one. I'm not sure about the canned on date. It's not on the bottom. Most of the time, Arvon will put it on the label on the side, but because this is so dark, I can see why they didn't. So let's go ahead and get this open, get it into a glass. This has been out a half hour. We're going over. Sorry, I have to use a Bell's glass because, again, I think I said it in one of them. My 31st Brewing one that I used to use all the time was broke somehow. Not sure how it was cracked down the side. And I don't have an Arvon one. Haven't visited there yet, so this is going to have to do. So, this should be interesting. I do like pastry stouts, but just like my New England IPAs, I don't want them to be overly sweet. So this should be interesting to see how this does. Hazelnuts, my parents used to have a tree farm, and I love hazelnuts. So head, darker chocolatey color, small bubbles throughout. It's like they're popping, but instead of creating the crater, it's just closing and going into new ones, smaller ones. From this glass, about a half a finger of head. For the color, I almost want to say dark brown. Like, it's almost, I don't even think it's as dark as that wrapping. You guys are going to see it black. I'm going very dark brown, not black. Because it's almost like at the teardrop in this one, the color is consistent all the way through. Where on a pure dark beer, half of it would be completely black and the other part would be a lighter. This does have a touch of lighter, but it's like that almost all the way up. Yeah, I would say very dark brown, not black. Let's go ahead and smell. Yeah, those hazelnuts, like roasted hot hazelnuts is what sticks out the most. Vanilla, chocolatey sweetness, a little bit of roastiness, but yeah, like a hot roasted hazelnut is what I get the most of. Then you get that vanilla, that roastiness, that chocolate before the roastiness in there. Yeah, I don't know if it's because the roasted hazelnut, but it almost smells like it's warm. Whoa, stuck my nose down there too far. That sweetness seems like it's a good level. It could be that there's a lot more smells that are coming out covering up that sweetness, but it smells like that sweetness is good. Like it's nice and mellow just to add that backbone and let the other flavors come out. Yeah, that's about it. Let's go ahead and taste. Thick, roasted malt. I don't get the hazelnut as much. Yes, there is a little nuttiness in there, but it almost seems like the chocolate and that roasted malt overpower most of the other stuff. mixed in with that vanilla, especially in the back end. That vanilla sweet chocolate really comes out. Acidic roasted malt in the back of the palate. Goes away pretty quick. Sweetness, I think, helps cover that bitterness, that ashiness from that darker roasted malt. There is some bitterness that lingers in the aftertaste on this one. Yeah, up front, yeah, more chocolate, vanilla sweetness, maybe a touch of nuttiness, but nothing like the smell. I mean, I get that roasted hazelnut right away out of the smell. I think it's a little harder to find it, but I could see it being covered up in the taste, especially by that chocolate vanilla, not really the vanilla, but the chocolate roasted malts, the heavy roasted malts. Like, the bitterness is still on the back end. They're calling this a pastry stout, and we're still, at least I'm still getting bitterness. I'm not saying I've brewed 500 pastry stouts and I know more than Arvon, but it almost seems like they used either darker malts or more darker malts on this one to bring out sweetness, maybe. And the thing against that is you're getting more ashy bitterness from that roasted malt in there. I mean, to drive up the ABV, you might use a touch more. You're going to have to use a little bit more roasted malts. But most of the time, your standard grains, 2-row or whatever they're using, is going to be the base. So you're just going to use more of that to drive up the ABV, because the cocoa nibs are probably in secondary. The hazelnuts are in secondary and the vanilla's in secondary. So you're pretty much going to have the ABV where it is. At least if I was going to brew it in the beers that I brewed, that's how it would go. I would put all that in secondary. So your ABV would technically be done. Maybe it's pulling a touch out of the cocoa nibs. Yeah, thicker body. I think for a pastry stout, though, that bitterness is a little too high. Like, you get that chocolate, light fudgy chocolate in there with that sweetness, but then that bitterness does take over. Like, even in the aftertaste, I can still taste the bitterness, like, in the middle, but on the outside, I get a little lighter chocolatey sweetness in there. I could still drink this for days, though. For me, I would want more hazelnut. Now, again, I've never brewed with hazelnut. I wish I could, well, I could probably still get hazelnuts. I don't know how that works, how many you have to use to get it to come out in the taste, but maybe if they backed up to like an 8% ABV, maybe more of that hazelnut would come out in the taste. Yeah, I still get that. Not as much roasted, like, okay, this is a hot drink, but I would go 4.25 out of 5. As a pastry stout, I think I want that bitterness to be lower. I want more hazelnut to really come out, since it's Nutella. Yeah, you're going to get that chocolate, but still that hazelnut in there, you're going to taste. And this, that ashy bitterness, you're not going to get that in a Nutella. They do make a Rocky Road, so if I can find that, I'm definitely picking that up. So 4.25 out of 5. Let's go ahead and check Untapped. Two of my friends have had it, 4.33. 130 people have checked it in, 4.12. Style guidelines: rich, creamy, dark, smooth, roasty. Extremely sweet, but still tastes great. Gave it a 4.25, so we're on the same page. Greg, sweet, rich, light roast. Oh. and that is it. I'm not checking everybody. But yeah, definitely one to pick up and try if you're into beers like this. It's not barrel aged, but it's kind of, I don't like pastry stout, but with the bitterness of an IPA that you actually get. Now, I know usually your stouts could have more IBUs than your IPAs. And that is just because to help balance it out. But this, I think this bitterness is from the roast, so the perceived bitterness is going to be a little bit higher than what if they were both the. I doubt this says the AB or the IBUs, yeah. But if you had two stouts at the same IBU level, you're going to taste the IPA more probably than you would the stout. But in a case like this, a bigger stout, if they were the same, if you had an IPA at 10% and then a regular stout at 10%, maybe the stout would be more. I mean, I just drank one IPA that had 50, and this seems like it's a lot more than what that is. So if you enjoyed this review, check some more out over here. And until next time, drink more craft beer.